While Black people studied our Bibles that were brutally forced upon our ancestors during their enslavement, insisting that it contained the true words of God that will set us free, white oppressive forces studied instead the science of how to hijack the group minds of large targeted populations through disinformation propaganda campaigns, utilizing what's called the herd mentality. They then used that gained knowledge to mentally enslave millions of Black people. The herd mentality is a tendency for people's behaviors or beliefs to conform to those of the groups to which they belong to, regardless of how ridiculous those beliefs may be. White propagandists have spread lots of false mental enslaving information into the Black communities. Millions of Black people then accepts the mental enslaving lies, and then our behaviors and beliefs conforms to those falsehoods, creating an elaborate prison for our minds. Yes, people can be mentally enslaved by disinformation. They don't teach us within our schools because white oppressive forces don't want us ever learning of this social science. The white oppressors systematically spreads lots of false propaganda into our communities that shapes our beliefs and behaviors in ways that are against our own self-interest and instead serves the interests of the system of white supremacy. The nefarious practice is called disinformation warfare. Disinformation warfare is an offensive, insidious psychological warfare tactic that uses disinformation, misinformation, and deception as a weapon to change a people's behaviors, beliefs, and mindsets in ways that are against their own self-interest, and instead in ways benefiting those who are deploying the disinformation warfare campaign. It's the warfare tactic that white oppressive forces deploys against Black people all the time. This is the case in regards to the N-word. White propagandists created the false narrative that we made the N-word ours and are using it empowers us. They then spread that false narrative into our communities. Many, initially the most ignorant, naive, and gullible ones among us, accepted the false narratives and started using the N-word. Then, to further embed it into our collective conscious, white movie studios produced Black exploitation films wherein which Black actors were hired to routinely use the N-word. This created a herd mentality within our communities wherein which millions of African Americans then started using the N-word while ignorantly insisting that we made the N-word ours, although we in fact did not. The false ideology of the N-word is being reapplied and reinforced through the white-controlled hip-hop industry. Certainly, many of our people will be offended by hearing these truthful words. But that's okay. A speaker of truth has no friends, African proverb. The truth must be told. Our core problem is that the herd mentality has made the ignorant ones overconfident and has made the intelligent ones become self-doubting. Therefore, the intelligent ones are now silent, and there's no pushback against the ignorant ideologies that have been spread into our communities, thus keeping us confused to the benefit of the system of white supremacy. Our ignorance of the hidden disinformation propaganda campaign that white oppressive forces deploys against us unrelentingly is their greatest weapon against us. The ignorant are ignorant of their own ignorance. When we focus only on a biblical fairy tale and a silly slave syndrome myth, we are in fact keeping our minds dumbed down and distracted from the truth. To free our minds, we must learn instead of all of the many hidden social engineering tactics that white oppressive forces deploys for maintaining their social dominance and their social capital over the Black population. This is the truth that frees our mind. More specifically, the psychological warfare propaganda that is being deployed like a massive media marketing campaign that constantly exalts the white brand while falsely constantly marginalizes the Black brand. It's being done to create and sustain false assumptions within the society that aids in maintaining white social dominance and white social capital over the black population. We must learn this science if we want to liberate ourselves. And it is so obvious that it's only by not critically thinking that it cannot be seen. Because when you start critically thinking, it then becomes clear to see just how cartoonishly unrealistic it actually is that virtually all information that we receive from white sources about themselves are consistently positive, while all that we receive about ourselves are consistently negative and or favors themselves over us. Have you ever stopped to consider just how absurdly unrealistic this scenario actually is? It is in fact cartoonishly unrealistic. And an even more ridiculously absurd scenario is the fact that virtually all study results that we receive also favors whites over blacks. Come on, critically think, look at the reality. To have study results so one-sidedly favoring one racial group over another, as we're experiencing them favoring whites over us, is absurdly unrealistic. They are all fraudulent propaganda. The white society is literally falsely scripted to propagate and convey the myth of white racial superiority over black people. Here's the hidden social science behind this practice. It's being done because all societies function based upon the narratives that are repetitively fed into a society. Those false repetitive narratives exalting whites while simultaneously marginalizing black people are designed to create and sustain a false perception within the society that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance and social capital over the black population. According to white social scientists, in order for a dominant group to maintain its position of social dominance within a society, the narratives that are fed into a society must endorse the dominant group position of social dominance. This is why we never hear anything negative about a white society. According to social scientists, anything negative about a white society undermines their position of dominance. That's why we never hear anything negative about them. See how cartoonishly unrealistic it actually is? Therefore, all narratives we get about a white society exalts their group. We are functioning based upon false narratives. And until you learn the social science that are being deployed for maintaining white dominance, everything else will only confuse you. It's time to wake up to our reality. One love and peace.